Hello, Prairie View Christian Church. Today is Wednesday, January 27th, 2021. It's time for your midweek update. A few quick reminders and announcements, and then a pretty significant prayer request here at the end that I certainly hope that you will keep in mind. So let's start with things today. It is Wednesday. That means that here in just a little bit, you're going to be seeing a devotion. It was my week to write the devotion. And you're also going to see this video sent out from Nancy. That'll be coming into your inbox any day now, any minute now, rather. So keep a lookout for today's devotion. Of course, watch this video. We've got a few announcements to share with you. And prepare to RSVP for our Sunday morning service this coming Sunday. As always, we are still asking for RSVPs. That way we can set up the chairs behind me the way they need to be set up to fit as many people as we can within all the right guidelines and precautions. So thank you to everybody for your patience and your cooperation with that. We really appreciate the fact that we've been able to gather and worship the way that we have. There have been a couple times recently where people within the church or people we know have kind of had close scrapes with COVID, whether it was close contact with someone they spent time with or had a meal with or whatever it might be. And we have these precautions in place for that specific reason. The whole reason we have these precautions in place is so we can continue doing what we've been doing on Sunday mornings. And so that even when there is that occasional time that you may have come into contact with someone who wasn't feeling well, we can fall back on those precautions and trust that we have these precautions for a reason and our whole lives don't have to be derailed the second we hear something like that. So thanks for RSVPing for this coming Sunday. We greatly appreciate that. Before we get to Sunday, though, we have our Friday men's breakfast. That is this week at 7 a.m. here in the lobby. We'll be continuing in the second half of John chapter 1. Joe Fenimore leads our study, so if you have any questions, contact him. Bring your own coffee, bring your own breakfast, bring a mask, and prepare to discuss John chapter 1, pray, and catch up. I look forward to the men's breakfast. We've had a couple new faces join in the past few weeks. And so you are welcome to join in as well if you haven't done that yet. So you'll get your email today with the RSVP for Sunday, Men's Breakfast Friday. Speaking of Sunday, we will be continuing our Problematic Proverbs sermon series. This is actually the final week of this sermon series that I've had a lot of fun with and heard some pretty good feedback on. The problematic proverb for this Sunday, January 31st, is doesn't matter what other people think. Don't care too much about what other people think. Now, there's definitely a sense in which that's true. We'll talk Sunday about how we as Christians are not called to be driven by public opinion. Not every decision that we make, not every doctrine that we hold, not every practice that we hold dear is going to win any popularity contests. So in that sense, we don't worry too much about what other people think. But there are also ways that we as Christians do worry about what other people think. We worry about it within the church, amongst our brothers and sisters in Christ. And we also worry about it from those outside of the church, those whom God has sent us to with the gospel. So don't worry about what other people think. Well, yes and no. We'll talk more about that on Sunday morning, the 31st. And speaking of Sunday morning, the 31st, we've already mentioned that we're starting our Hamilton County Harvest Food Drive in the month of February. We do that every single year near the beginning of the year. So we'll be doing it on February 7th, 14th, 21st, and 28th. Those are our 4 official Sundays. However, we actually already have the barrels here. They were dropped off yesterday during the day, and so they are sitting in the lobby right now, empty, waiting to be filled. So we have an extra Sunday to fill those barrels up with food for those in need in our community. So if you would like to go ahead and start bringing food this Sunday, you are more than welcome to do that. Again, we get a head start. We thought we were only going to have 4 Sundays. We get 5. So hopefully that will give us even more food that we can share with our community and those who need it most. So Hamilton County Harvest Food Bank, that starts technically next Sunday, but you can go ahead and bring food this Sunday as well. So that pretty much covers it for our announcements. You'll get your email here in just a few minutes from Nancy. RSVP for Sunday morning as we continue discussing problematic proverbs. Don't worry about what other people think. Men's breakfast on Friday at 7 a.m., and then also start collecting that food for Hamilton County Harvest Food Bank. Now, as we close, here is the prayer request that I wanted to mention to you. And I won't share a ton of details because honestly, I don't have a ton of details. But lately we've been seeing that all the COVID numbers have been going down. A lot fewer cases, hopefully fewer deaths, kind of following that same trend here pretty soon. Hospitalizations are going down. The Fishers Health Department seems to be happy with some of the trends that are happening. That's all really good news. However, we are not totally out of the woods yet. COVID is still a thing. Even though we're exhausted, even though we would like to be done with COVID, COVID might not be done with us quite yet. And one of the proofs of that is that currently Northridge, the retirement home that we've done ministry with for many years now, between weekly Bible studies and then Sunday morning trips to communion once a month, they have experienced a COVID outbreak. So all their residents are currently in their rooms. They're not allowed to eat out in the main dining area. People like us, who normally go there a few times a month to do ministry, are not allowed there right now because of the outbreak. So they've had people who live there test positive. They've had staff test positive. And so I would ask you to pray for the people at Northridge. As we have often heard, the survival rate for COVID is very, very high. 99.8% is the number that typically gets thrown around. And while that might be the survival rate for someone like me, that might not be the survival rate for someone who lives at Northridge, someone who's in their 70s or 80s or 90s and may have some pre-existing conditions. So we would really, really ask that you pray for the people who live and work at Northridge. Again, those people mean a lot to us. We've developed a pretty good ministry there over the past few years. And we would ask you to pray for all the people who live there and work there, that they would get through this current outbreak, that those who are sick would recover and heal, and that you would be with those who are trying to prevent it from going any further than it already has. So please pray for the people who live and work at Northridge. So that pretty much covers it for our midweek update. Thanks for listening. Again, be on the lookout for all those things I mentioned just a few minutes ago. Mark your calendars for men's breakfast, Sunday morning worship, Hamilton County Harvest Food Drive. And if you do plan to be here on Sunday morning the 31st, as always, please RSVP through the website. So, have a great rest of your week, and I hope to see you Sunday. If you can't be here, join us at 10 a.m. on the live stream. So, take care.